Is that question? First question?
Yeah.
So it is said that Upanishads are only source of pramana, or only source of valid source of knowledge called pramana for seeker. That's what Shankaracharya has told. Now, Swami Sachidananda Saraswati seems to be indicating that intuitive knowledge is the pramana. Is there a conflict between the two? Is that the question, right question?
Yeah.
So first of all, there's no conflict. Sri Shankaracharya said, the scriptures knowledge, Shravana, Manana, Nidhyasa, culminates in intuitive direct experience called Aparoksha Anubhuti. Until it culminates in Aparoksha Anubhuti, still there will be no clarity. So the Shravana, Manana, Dhyana, on Nidhyasa, on Upanishads, finally culminates in direct intuitive a perception. It's not a perception, a perception. What is the a perception? I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm infinite self, I'm Brahman. That clarity emerges. So it requires Upanishad as a means of knowledge. So Shankaracharya says, finally it has to result in Aparoksha Jnana or direct intuitive perception. So then what is the role of Upanishads? Role of Upanishads is to remove the ignorance. Everybody has intuitive knowledge of the self. Everybody says, I am, I exist, I exist and I am aware. It doesn't require any education. You don't have to go to school to understand I educate, I exist, and I am aware. So this is common to both a sage, enlightened being and ordinary being or ignorant person. So the only thing which has to be moved here is an ordinary person, I exist and I am aware, is confused with the body. There's a confusion happening. So this confusion has to be systematically removed. So then I exist, I am aware. Really what's called I am. When you speak of I exist, I am aware. You're saying I am going, I am coming. The I is referring to consciousness, am is referring to awareness. I is referring to consciousness, am is referring to awareness, the existence. Consciousness is called chit and existence is called sat. So sat and chit is referring. But what is missing us, we don't understand that consciousness and existence is what we are pointing toward, is the infinite self, which we are. But we confusingly mistake it with the body. There's only confusion. This is called confusion, is called adhyasa or superimposition. So between the Gnani and ignorant person, this is the only difference, the superimposition. So through study of Upanishads, this superimposition is removed. When the superimposition is removed, the intuitive knowledge, I am pure awareness, becomes I am body, becomes I am infinite self. So that's called Aparoksha Jnana. So now Upanishads are the only valid means of knowledge. Why? Because for anything in the material world, I can go to science, technology, engineering, so many subjects, so many knowledge, so many sources of knowledge is there. Right? So Upanishads, when they teach on the empirical subject, we have alternate source of knowledge, science and technology. But something beyond our sense perception mind, there's no source of knowledge. Only Upanishads have the source of knowledge. This sense transcendental self is only uncovered through Upanishad knowledge. So now let us say somebody says, let us say some scripture says, fire is cold fire. You will not go and touch the fire just because scripture is saying. Because your experience says fire is hot. Your experience overshadows that. Okay. Also, you can get any other textbook, what happens when the hand is burned. So empirical knowledge, Upanishads or scriptures will not override the empirical experience or knowledge. Upanishads are there solely for transcendental wisdom, which is not available to sense organs and mind. There's no other authentic source. So this Upanishad knowledge, who got it and how did they get it? So Shankaracharya says, the scriptures are not the only source for authentic knowledge. Direct intuition is possible. He gives the example of some rishis and some devatas who develop direct intuition, not because of super scriptures. Why did they have that direct intuition? Because they had a superior body-mind complex where there is no confusion was happening. Intellectual superior quality, clarity. So there is no scripture required. Their direct intuitive experience by birth is I am Brahman. There is a saying, there is a one Rishi called Vamadeva Rishi who became enlightened when his mother's womb. He is born enlightened. He doesn't require any education, scriptural education. So some devatas, some rishis have born intuitive direct experience of the self. So then there's no question of Upanishad knowledge, scripture knowledge. So then there are some people who appear to have got enlightenment very engaged. Examples like Ramana Maharshi and all. They're not gone through any scriptures. The one answer is that they have a superior body-mind complex where they directly intuitively they can perceive the truth. Or the other answer is they have studied the scriptures in the past life and they are just reaping the benefit of that in this life. They have been sadhakas in the past life. That can answer. But that's why Shankaracharya says Upanishads are valid means of knowledge. Also, some people, very fortunate, very few, very, very rare indeed individuals, for him the direct experience is there, but there's no scriptures. Now, what is the relation between scriptures and direct experience? This direct experience is called intuitive direct experience, called aparoksha jnana. The intuitive knowledge which comes out of that in aparoksha jnana is called Arsha Bodha. Arsha Bodha is intuitive knowledge of the self. I am Brahman. So now aparoksha jnana, intuitive knowledge of the self. A sage gets it, Rishi gets it. Then he gives the teaching in terms of Upanishads. Now, when he gives the teaching, it's not an individual human being, an individual is giving. There's no individual there. Once you have become Brahman, you're all pervading reality. The teaching is coming through the body-mind complex. The teaching is coming from Ishvara, the all pervading reality. It's not an individual teaching. It is not a mind. It's not a teaching which is coming from the mind, human mind. So those teachings which are not human mind originated, but infinite universal consciousness oriented, they are called Apaurusheya. So Vedas are called Apaurusheya. They are also called Arsha Vidya because rishis who are the seers of that wisdom gave that. This helps us to get Atma Jnana by systematic study. Now, what is the meaning of Upanishads are the only valid source of knowledge? Upanishads are the only valid source of knowledge for an ignorant person. Unlike fortunate rishis or devatas who can get intuitive knowledge directly because of whatever reason, maybe past life or because of superior body-mind complex. 99.99% of people, they need a guidance, a direction, a study. What is better study than the teaching of the rishis who have got a direct intuitive knowledge, which the Ishvara, the wisdom of the Ishvara has, the infinite intelligence of the Ishvara has spoken through them in terms of Upanishads, in terms of Vedanta. So that becomes, that's the only source of knowledge. There's no other source of knowledge for Atma Jnana. That's the only authentic source of knowledge for Adnani. So this why Upanishads are the only source of knowledge for all of us, ignorant person, and some very, very highly evolved beings don't need it. We are not in that category. There's no other source of knowledge for us. So Upanishad knowledge will culminate in direct intuitive experience called Aparoksha Jnana. So that's why Arsha Vidya or Vedanta or Upanishad is a guide for us. So that being the case, for ignorant person, Adnani, there's no other source. Now what happens? Somebody who has become Jnani, already got the wisdom. For him, what is the purpose of this Vedanta Upanishad? So he doesn't say Vedanta Upanishad is not a pramana because his inner experience itself is pramana. Inner experience is sufficient for him. So he doesn't need that scriptures. In that sense, he doesn't use this pramana. He doesn't say it's not a pramana for himself or anybody, but he doesn't need it. Somebody has studied his college and passed the examination. For him, the textbooks are not relevant. In that sense, Upanishads are not relevant for a Gnani. Upanishads are relevant for a Adnani until he gets the intuitive direct experience of the Atma Gnana. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Guruji.
Any other questions are there in this? Please understand, Rushi is, the word Rushi comes from the rasa. Rasa means essence of life. He has understood the essence of life. He has got Atma Gnana. I am the infinite self, I am Brahman. That's the essence of life. So that person who has got the essence of life and crossed over samsara, that person is called Rushi. In other words, Rushi is an enlightened being. Rushi is also a Jivan Mukta. So in the modern day terminology, we are not using word called Rushi often, we are using Jivan Mukta and enlightened being. A Jivan Mukta or enlightened being is a Rushi. So now Rushi word also has a poet in it. Rushi means also poet. The enlightened wisdom they shared in terms of poetry. That poetry is Upanishad, Vedanta. Now this poetry didn't come from a human mind. It came from a mind which has become transcendental mind, Ishvara. In that sense, it's not a human origin. It's not made up or cooked up by human ego. That's why it's Apaurushya. It came through Drushis. It's called Shruti, heard. What is heard? The intuitive wisdom. It's not heard in the ears. Intuitive wisdom which appeared in their intellect. It came in the form of poetry. It's called Rushi. That's why Vedas, Upanishads are Apaurushya. It's called Arshavakya. It's called Arshavidya. Manana of that will also give you the same wisdom which is there in Upanishad, Tattvamasi. That's the word. Now, it's not a gain. You are not gaining anything. That wisdom is already there. That intuitive knowledge is there, but it's getting covered by our thought process, our empirical life, empirical interactions, vasanas. So Upanishads are not helping you to gain something. Upanishads are helping you to get rid of something which is covering your Jnana.
So when Upanishads uncover, help in uncovering that, what remains is the direct intuitive.
Which is always there. Once, see the Upanishad teachings, Tattvamasi, you are that. So now Upanishads have various ways or prakriyas of teaching that. So as the prakriya sinks in, as the clarity emerges, you recognize that I am Brahman. Then you recognize that I was Brahman before also, I was Brahman. I'll be Brahman all the time. I was Brahman all the time. I'm the infinite all the time. In between some time, I forgot my nature and I thought I'm body and mind. So it's not a new gain at all in that sense.
So can I say that Upanishads is an expression of the Arsha Darshana or Arsha Gnana they had?
Upanishad is an expression of Ishvara, Brahman. Okay, so that came through Rishis. For us, Rishis are human beings. In reality, Rishi is not a human being. He is a transcendental being. He has become one with Brahman. But it came through mouth of a human being, or through it got delivered through us to a human being. That person who is enlightened, we call him as Rishi. For us, the Rishi is a person. But Rishi is not a person. He is already one with the Brahman in that sense. So that wisdom of Rishi, what he realized is called Arsha Darshana. He realized that. So in our language, it's called Aparoksha Jnana. Okay, that Arsha Darshana or Arsha Vidya for us can help us to get the self-realization. Whatever they saw, they are sharing the process, the wisdom.
Which came out as Upanishads.
Which came out as Upanishads. And Vedas also. Vedas also Arsha Darshana.
Yeah.
So it's Apaurushya because it's not a human mind which has made it, cooked it up. They are no longer individual. It's a no mind. The no mind is Ishvara, Brahman. So that's why when Ramakrishna Paramahamsa speaks, we say it's a Vachana Veda. What is coming through the mouth of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is a Vachana Veda. It's a wisdom of Vedas. It's a Veda. Don't be under the impression that Veda is only Sanskrit.
Yeah.
So Upanishads have a very, very systematic way of uncovering the infinite self. The challenge there is the self is never an object. Our whole problem is we have objectified the self. So the Upanishads have a very subtle way of uncovering the self without objectifying it. There is very gentle art. If you don't understand the process of Upanishad, you will mistake it. The Upanishads have very, very, very gentle way of uncovering the self without objectifying it. So the people who don't understand the Upanishads teachings objectify the self. When you understand, Upanishads are subtly removing the objectivity of the self. Finally, to help you to establish in the true self. What is the true self? Nanu, nanembudu, nanalla, ideha, manabuddhi, nanalla, sachidanandatma, shivananani, shivoham, shivoham, shivoham. All objectivity is gradually removed. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean that objective remains somewhere. The subject and object is realized as one non-dual self. There's no more duality at all. So that gentle process, there's no other source of knowledge other than Upanishads. That's why Upanishads are the only source of knowledge for Adnani. For Adnani, there's no source of knowledge required. His intuitive experience is sufficient.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Hari Om, Prabhuji.
Hari Om.
Prabhuji, sometime back you had given the model of trusted source for.
Yeah.
Now, my understanding is that every seeker goes. There is wisdom in the Upanishads, which is the sage's word, which is Apaurishaya.
Correct.
That is the reference knowledge.
Right.
Now, every seeker, when he gets a direct intuitive experience, will have to verify this with the trusted source, whether it's imagination or actual fear.
See, it is your question is the Upanishads, I said, is a trusted source.
Huh.
Okay. See, somebody doesn't have faith in Upanishad or Veda,
then
he cannot go in this path, obviously. Right?
Correct. Huh.
So we are speaking of the people who have faith in the path. It is come from Ishvara and it's a trusted source. For them only we are able to speak.
Correct.
For those who don't have that this thing, we can't speak for them.
Correct. So, but my point is that.
Okay, I'll tell you. Yeah, I'm saying. Right.
Okay.
So now here, when I speak of trusted source, I'll give you an example. A father has gone to a foreign country. Child has not seen the father. After child goes 2 years, father comes. Mother tells, this is your father. Then child will accept immediately. Right?
Right.
So that type of faith is there in the child. Child will not ask for DNA proof.
Correct.
Or prove that. So that means the child trusts the mother. So that type of trust is there. Then only we can proceed in this path of Upanishad. Otherwise, we keep on questioning, is Upanishad telling right? Or is it true? All those things. Then we'll not go there.
Understood, Prabhuji. But I'm trying to get at.
I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that, right? So now, once we have trust, this becomes our authentic reference. Okay. So now the challenge here is, I'm not trying to gain experience. Okay. I am seeking the truth, ultimate truth. Okay. Now, the truth seeker will go through many phases. Many pseudo answers, many false traps, right? Because ego will claim, I have reached here. At any point of time, your journey can come to an end. I mean, your journey. If you're seeking truth, you will not fall for that. The journey of spiritual journey is called walking on a razor's edge. You can fall anytime or cut yourself. It's not dangerous. What I'm saying is, it is sharp. Okay, a real seeker of truth will not rest until the goal is reached. Swami Vivekananda said, stop not until your goal is reached. People think that is in the objective world. No, he is speaking of the spiritual journey. Stop not till your goal is reached. Spiritual journey. Now the problem is, many times we start thinking that, oh, I have already reached. I am already there. Okay. So now, and they'll get lost. So what is the guide for them? One is a realized master's presence. If there is a really, you are in the presence of a realized master, he will always point gently and subtly, prompt you in the right direction. Okay, a realized master is a valuable source who can provide you trust the master, right? He can always, he will not say you are not realized. He'll always point out something which you don't, which you have missed. In that sense, a guide is very important. Second, this thing is Upanishads, the contemplation teaching of Upanishads gradually opens more and more intuitive understanding. So the Upanishads and a trusted master, it's called Brahmanishta, which Shrotriya and Shastra, are a valuable resource for somebody on the journey. Now, at any point of time, it's ultimately nobody will come and say you are enlightened or not. Nobody will give a certificate that you are enlightened, you are liberated. Ultimately, you have to give. But what point you give, how sincere you are, do you check with this Upanishad, do you check with the master authentically, or whatever you feel, you think is right, that's up to you. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes, Prabhuji, I got that. But everybody, even a Jnani also, quote unquote, becomes a Jnani with a direct intuitive experience. For example, Ramana Maharshi had the death experience
Right.
as a young boy. Now, you also would have had a direct intuitive experience.
Okay.
Now, ultimately, at that point, I think even my understanding is at that point, the reference knowledge still to compare or calibrate the intuition is the truth of the master or the sage.
See,
The master or the sage.
correct. See, that what he said is Vidyate Hridaya Granthi Chidyate Sarva Sanshaya. Your ignorance is broken, all doubts are gone. Okay. So now there will be no doubt remaining. So there are only two types of people who don't have doubt. Who? One is a fool, and another is a fully wise man. In between, everybody has a doubt, right? Even if you say declare, tomorrow you come and declare I am enlightened, in your mind only there will be a cross question will come. Are you really? You cannot run away from your mind now. So now a genuine seeker will take that and go get over it. He needs some reference. Upanishads and master is a very great reference in our journey.
So that's why I'm interpreting it as Upanishads is the trusted source or the reference knowledge that we can take.
Because master is living Upanishad.
So the master's word, sage's word is an Upanishad by itself.
Living Upanishad. Master is a living Upanishad. Okay. So that's why in India, if you see, okay, if you ask anybody, they'll ask, oh, who is your guru? What's your tradition? If your guru or tradition is not there, then you're not taken very, it's not given due weightage.
Yes.
If there is a guru or tradition, it's understood that you have gone through a process by which a valid knowledge is there. This we call as what we call as a tradition, sampradaya. Okay, in that sampradaya, in that tradition, some way of passing on the valid knowledge, some way of testing the integrity is there. It's supposed to be there. Okay. So somebody comes and says, there are many people in the world, okay, so-called self-declared enlightened beings. I'm not questioning whether they are enlightened or not enlightened, right? So you must have heard a sect in Japan. Japanese have a good understanding of enlightenment because of Buddhism. There was one guy who declared himself as enlightened, and he had thousands of followers. I don't know if lakhs. Then just around year 2000, he said the world is going to end and you have to commit suicide. Some wrong notions, ego-based notions will come. Okay, he may be still convinced that he is enlightened, right? So a genuine seeker of truth will not rest until he gets the destiny. He will reach that. That's what Swami Vivekananda said. Stop not till your goal is reached. Now, what is the reference for you? Ego can say, I am enlightened, nothing to be doing. I am better than everybody. But are you? Then where is the reference? The reference is master and scriptures. Intuitive knowledge, finally, intuitive knowledge of my intuitive knowledge, scriptural knowledge, master's wisdom, they'll be one and same. That's why outer guru and inner guru become one.
Prabhuji, at several moments, we all get flashes of intuition.
Correct.
The way I am reading the whole thing is that intuition is the experience that, or the knowledge, the wisdom gained is actually the measurement. But Upanishads or the sage's word or the master's word is the calibrated standard. Without
Yes.
that, there is no way for me to understand whether this is my imagination or I am calibrated.
You're right. You're right. You're right. But in ignorance, we can understand Upanishad teaching and master's words also wrongly.
Correct.
We may think that we are calibrating, but
so how can intuitive knowledge be the reference, like you said in the answer?
See, the challenge here also is a ego-based knowledge and genuine spiritual enlightenment. Very difficult for us to distinguish.
Okay.
Because we confuse. Right? So in that sense, presence of a realized master and guidance of scriptures will definitely help, provided you are sincere to.
I'm 100% aligned with that thought, Prabhuji, but right. I'm just trying to find out in what context you said intuitive knowledge is also another reference, another.
So that is only very, very highly evolved beings, which is not even 0.001% of the population.
Okay. Okay.
That doesn't apply to all our mortals. Right? So they are actually, that's also where the scriptures also said that either they have a superior body and mind complex, or they have completed their sadhana in the previous life.
Okay, that was my primary question. How intuitive knowledge can be another reference equal to the
that is actually ultimately Sri Shankaracharya says in one of the places. Okay, if somebody says I am Brahman, I have realized Brahman, there's no way for us to verify. It's up to him. Right? Understand? It's like, for example, if I give food to you, okay. He says, I am not full, my stomach is full, I can't eat more. There's no way for me to judge you. Right? So, in that way, enlightenment realization is also like that. If somebody feels he's enlightened, liberated, there's nobody else who can judge it. Okay? These beings have a sense of clarity, probably because of they have done they are coming from a various, what I'm saying is many lifetimes of sadhana. They have get a crystal clear clarity and they're enlightened. That's all it means. That's all. That intuition is not failing. Whereas in case of most of beings, intuition is well mixed up with the what I'm saying is ego-based knowledge. I'm saying they have already reached there. They have all done all the validation they have done and they've come there. They've just come for a final leap.
Okay. But there is another problem that I understand, Prabhuji. One can say I'm very clear from the egoistic point of view. Ego also can say I'm very clear.
That's right.
There's crystal clarity of the ego, of ignorance.
Correct.
And crystal clarity of the wisdom.
Yes.
So that ignorance itself is taken to be the wisdom.
That's right. This is the spiritual trap now. This is the spiritual trap now. This is the trap now. That's why I'm saying Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasa and service have to continue.
So trust the process and let the process take us.
And don't have to evaluate yourself. I'm saying be in the process. If you're in the right process, be in that.
Okay.
So never ask, have I reached? Is the destination come? Don't ask that.
Sow the seed, put the water, manure, and allow it.
Yeah, it's not. And finally, please understand, it's not a destination. It's your recognizing your own self. It's uncovering yourself.
Okay.
Right? So don't keep on evaluating or judging. If you are in the right process, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasa, Seva, I don't think anything else you can do.
So for that question, Prabhuji, there can be two answers. One is Upanishad is the trusted source and intuitive knowledge is verified with the Upanishad.
Correct.
Second answer is intuitive knowledge for a heavy, very, very sensitive, evolved person is also is the Upanishads.
It will be in tune with the Upanishad. It will not be away from
The
Upanishad. It will not be away, right?
But will that being verify that with the Upanishads?
I'm saying he is there because he has already done all this homework. I'm saying that's all we can say.
Okay.
See, I'm saying he is there because he has already crossed those stages.
Okay.
Right? I'm saying when you give respect to rishis like Vamadeva and all, he's well respected. He's a topmost rishi, was born enlightened. That means his interaction with other rishis have interacted with him. They have seen his wisdom. It's like the respect it is not commanded, no? It's not demanded, no? It's given by the society, no? So it means that person that Vamadeva would have done all those things in the past lives, whatever its journey.
Even Adi Shankara was stunned by Hastamalaka.
Yeah. I'm saying, see, just Hastamalaka to be with Shankaracharya would have spent many lifetimes of good karma, no?
Previously, yes.
Previously, no? We don't see the past lives of people, right? We only see the current life small window. What person has done, what he has done, we don't know, no? That's why it's always understood that if somebody has reached a peak of evolution, he has already done. In case of Buddha, he speaks of over 500 lifetimes of Jataka tales. Right? So Jataka tales in various lifetimes, what all things he has done, all those things are told.
ರಾಮಕೃಷ್ಣರ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲೂ ಹಾಗೆ ಆಗತ್ತಲ್ವಾ ಗುರುಜಿ? ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ರಾಮಕೃಷ್ಣ ಪರಮಹಂಸರದು ಅವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರುವಾಗ ಬೇರೆಯವರೆಲ್ಲ ಅರೆ ಈಗ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಲ್ಲ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ, ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿರೋದೆಲ್ಲ ಉಪನಿಷತ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ.
Correct. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is whatever he speaks is Upanishad. It's Vachana Veda. Right? So a Gnani, or Jivan Mukta or liberate being, when he speaks is Upanishad only, in that sense. Because it's not coming from human mind, it's coming from a direct intuitive knowledge. Yes, Vasu?
Nila Prabhuji, thank you.
I'm saying for us, Shastra and Sadguru are trusted,
correct,
companions. Don't keep on evaluating. Don't keep on evaluating whether you have reached the destination, because there's no destination to reach. You are the destination. There's no destination to reach. Right? So many people will say, my journey has ended. Whether it's egoistic knowledge or true wisdom, we don't know. And it is not for us to verify. For us, until our mind stops questioning, a clarity sets in, our journey has not ended. Even if a small doubt is there, still it means noise is there.
That is the litmus test, Prabhuji. No questions. Questions dissolve. All questions dissolve.
Yeah, all questions will dissolve, and there'll be flow in your life, and your presence will affect other people. In a sense, there will be some peace and love or radiation. Some amount of service activity will happen through you. So those things, symptoms are there, and some Jivan Mukta Lakshana will appear in your life. It may not be magnificent. Some amount of there's a sense of fullness which doesn't change. Right? So these are very, very soft aspects of life, Vasu. Right? It is very difficult to explain these soft aspects. See, a soft aspect like you tell your life, I love you. Then she will ask, take a scale and measure it. How much is that? It's not possible, no? The softer aspect of life, I'm enlightenment and all, very soft, very gentle. Right? So it's only your sincerity, our own sincerity, our own seeking truth which makes a difference. There's nothing else. For that, there are some good references. Upanishads are there, Guru is there. That's all I can say. Right? You can say, no, Guru, you are not required. Upanishads are I am enlightened. It's okay. Ultimately, it's up to you, know your life, no?
Yeah. ನೀವು ಹಿಂದೊಂದ್ಸಲ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ, ಔಷಧಾಲಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಔಷಧಿ ಇರೋದು ಮಾಲೀಕನು ಅಂಗಡಿ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಔಷಧಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾನೆ, ಯಾರಿಗದು ಬರೋ ರೋಗಿಗೆ ಅಂತ. So it is for the person who is seeking, and once that is reached, then I think the need for the medicine is also not.
Medicine goes, Okay. So the only question here is whether ego is claiming that medicine is not required, or genuinely medicine has got dropped. A very, very subtle difference. Okay. It's very sharp. There are many, many pseudo peaks there. False peaks there. False peaks you reach.
Sure.
Okay. And what I'm saying is, it is said that one person goes to a monk sitting, one person wants money, right? He goes to a monk. Monk says, go half a kilometer, you'll get a copper mine. So get some this thing. He goes to, he gets some copper coins there. Then again he comes back. He says, go further. So then you get silver coins, then gold coins, then diamonds, right? So somewhere this guy is lost. After many years, he starts thinking, this guy has been able to tell so many things. There must be something more valuable. This guy must be sitting on something more valuable below the seat. So then he asks him, what are you sitting on? He says, I'm not sitting. I'm actually blissful. I don't need any of this. So what happens is that in the process, we get lost with many of these small attractions, and we think that we are reached there, and we want to claim or we want to feel satisfied. So all those things are there. Ultimately, spiritual journey is your inner journey. Your sincerity, your commitment, your clarity makes a difference. Where you stop or how do you continue? There's nobody will come and say, Guru will not come and say, no, you have to continue. No, Guru will not come and say you are enlightened. He will not give a certificate also. They are all there as helping hand.
Very nice, Prabhuji.
Ultimately, the certification comes from your inner clarity. Vidyate, hridaya granthi, chidyate sarvasangshaya. Your knot of that knot which is binding the body and consciousness, chidjada granthi gets broken. All samshayas will go, doubts will go. And kshiyante tasya karmani, all karmas will go. Now this clarity will emerge. But this clarity, we don't know whether it's ego-based or wisdom-based. That's where this sharp discrimination, Shravana, Manana, Nidhyasa will help us.
If it's ego-based, karma will continue for me. If it's wisdom-based.
Yeah, but what happens, I'm telling people, there are many people who think that I am reached there. I'm there already. So it's not for us to question whether you are there or not. For you to question whether you are there or not. We cannot judge the enlightenment or liberation of anybody. Just like we cannot judge somebody is hungry or not hungry.
Prabhuji, I can't even judge myself. I have to simply keep doing what has to be done.
No, I'm saying, what I'm saying is, that you are speaking of yourself. No, there are many people who want to judge themselves, judge others. Right? There is a world is like that now. I'm saying these are the matters so subtle, so fine, transcendental wisdom.
The two viewpoints, Prabhuji, you have very clearly mentioned in Aparokshanubhuti, the fourth talk that you had given, that prarabdha is there for whom? It is there for the onlooker.
It is there for onlooker. It's not. Nani point of there's no problem. There's no prarabdha for Nani because he is not the body. Where is the prarabdha?
So, viewpoints, so adralli tumba spashtavagi bandiದೆ. We were just doing manana of that in the AVSC. So there very clearly two viewpoints you have brought out.
That's where this
Jnani, no karma because he is akarta. And the other point is from the onlooker, from the jiva, those who see the Jnani, that prarabdha is continuing and acting. So my simple recommendation also, don't keep on evaluating whether you reach the goal or not. Shravana, Manana, Nidhyasa, as long as it gives challenges you, opens up new insights, to be with that. Say why you be there with that. Other than what else you can do? We are not in a hurry to get certification. No, I'm enlightened or liberated. So definitely that won't help in marriage, and you are already past the age of marriage. But I'm in a hurry to get ISO 9000 certification and the others. This certification, no hurry. Trust the process.
Yeah, just trust the process. This is a well trusted process by thousands of years.
Yes.
Jnana process. We be in that.
ಏನ್ ಡೌಟ್ ಇರ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಭುಜಿ. we are under good care.
Yeah. There is somebody who is in the chat box saying, I'm in a hurry to pack up and leave the body. Okay. The answer for that, are you the body? Okay. Who packs up and who leaves? Who is in a hurry? Find out.
Prabhuji, but this Vyakulata is given a lot of visualization. Prabhuji, that quest, that
Mumukshatva, desire for liberation. Desire. See, here you have to understand. See, this is actually again very wrongly misunderstood by people. Okay. Right. So a lot of stories are given.